Why did you? That scared the crap out of me. Hey, I'm recording.
Yay!
That was the perfect. Everyone who listens in is gonna get scared, get the shit scared out of them now.
Perfect.
Good job, because you clapped.
I did it. I did that on purpose.
Hey, Fear the Ink podcast. I don't say the episode. Last time I said the episode number and I ticked myself off.
Oh, you fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up. No Rob this episode. He's sick.
I miss him.
You miss him?
Yeah.
You miss that tall Scottish bastard.
Oh, yeah.
But we have Zach here.
Yeah.
And we have a new person. We have Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Chris is here. With his long locks. And I'm still trying to figure out the color of his hoodie. What color?
It's definitely pink.
Salmon.
It's
Definitely pink.
No, it's salmon.
It's salmon.
It's salmon?
Salmon.
Salmon?
Is that the same as pink?
It's a type of.
It's a gator pink.
Yeah, it's pretty much a
Okay.
gator pink.
It's
You know the
carnation.
color of salmon meat?
Yeah, exactly.
That.
I always think pink though.
It's salmon.
All right, so the way today we will be reading The Whistler, or just Whistler. We're using a different website than we usually do because the other website we used to work with to read our stories was absolute cancer, and it would just be pop-ups, and you'd scroll down and a pop-up would show up, even on your phone.
those.
Oh, so you'd have to sit there and try to find your spot all over again.
And it's really hard to X stuff out on a phone, right?
Yep.
But this one is written by a guy named 40FB, which that's not. I don't think that's his given name, guys.
Are you sure?
He might be an android. It's called Whistler, and the way we read is, you know how there's like breaks in the paragraph?
Yeah.
We take like 2 or 1 chunk depending on how big it is, and we like bounce around.
Okay.
We take turns.
Yeah.
It's popcorn, like back in elementary school when you didn't want to
Hot potato.
participate.
Yeah, trying
Yeah.
to hide in the corner.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, remember that? Like, I don't want to fucking read. Why are you making me read? Even I didn't want to read.
Really?
Yeah, even I didn't want to read. I would just pretend I was asleep.
Shut the front door.
It's shut. That's how you guys got in here. Okay, can anyone read music? Because at the header here, there's notes.
I am way rusty, and I only know how to read it in the terms of drums.
So, like, scratchings or runes.
Drums.
Yeah.
So, like...
When drummers speak, I don't know, I just hear,
Yeah.
like, the parents from Peanuts.
So,
Wah, 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 wah.
that's pretty much how drum.
It's
sheet
just that,
music
and then
is,
I hear,
yeah.
and then I hear a kick.
No, you got it. So all drummers speak in drum sound. So it's like.
They all sound like Polygon from Pokemon. All right, you know what, Chris? Since you're new, you can kick this off.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right, awesome.
take that huge chunk right there.
Yeah, that
That's
whole
what
first
she
paragraph
said.
right there.
That's right.
All right. Last year, at the beginning of June, my grandparents asked if I could house sit for them while they were away.
Huh.
They were real active in their old age since
Ugh.
they had retired. They like to go on these month-long trips along North America in their RV. They offered me some money to boot, and the promise of each cash isn't something I often turn down, especially not when I'm unemployed.
Ugh.
Plus, getting to spend a couple months in nice 2-story house down by the beach. Everything was lining up to make for a chill, awesome summer.
Don't come a knocking when the RVs are rocking.
That's just a general rule.
Yeah.
They're
Everybody
just
knows
out
that.
there banging.
Why wouldn't you?
You know what? If I had an RV, I would bang in the RV.
Why
I
not?
sure as fuck would.
Yeah, right?
That's like the perfect place.
Yeah, until Bigfoot finds you. Like you're somewhere in Colorado.
Then he can join in.
Oh, he probably smells.
Oh, this just in. We are now posting our podcast on Pornhub.
Oh, that's right. Guys, it's gonna be so easy, actually. You know, there's a guy doing a Let's Play of God of War, and he's only posting it on Pornhub right now.
Oh shit, that's great.
And I'm like, this man gets like 1 million views. You know, his like His titles should be like Young Greek Man Pounded by Giant Supernatural Dick. He's not young. A bearded Greek man handles two Nordic asses. That's the title. Okay. Zach, you take the next two over there.
Okay. Just making sure I'm at the right spot. A couple of days before I was set to take up residence in my grandfolks' house, my mom came into my room while I was packing. She touched me on the shoulder and said a little weakly, "You know, you can always come home if you change your mind about staying there." "I know, Mom," I replied, a little puzzled. She hugged me around the waist and put her head to my chest. "I love you, kid," she murmured. I thought she was just being overly emotional about not seeing me for the next few months.
Well, Jesus.
God damn, it's like everyone that I read just starts so weirdly and
abruptly. In retrospect, I thought of a lot of things that turned out to be wrong. By the time I got to my grandparents' house, they had already started out on their trek around the country. There was a note on the dining room table telling me about where to find grocery stores in their neighborhood, some good local restaurants, cool things happening at the beach in the next few weeks. Pretty basic stuff. There was just one weird sentence at the end. If you see anything that looks amiss, it's probably that way for a reason. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Okay, Chris.
Alright, I'm sorry. I would never have thought to connect those words to what they end up pertaining to. But at the time, the strangeness of the phrase didn't even register with me at all. I was just upset that they forgot to leave their Wi-Fi password.
Me too.
How am I going to upload my God of War playthroughs on Pornhub?
Then I remembered that they still use DSL and that I'd have to plug my laptop into a cable to be able to connect to the internet. What is it about even the hippest grandparents being just behind the times enough to always leave at least one inconvenience when you go visit them?
Huh. DSL is when it still makes that...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's almost like dial-up.
Like the million goddamn America Online CDs I still have somewhere back there.
The first night at their place was pretty chill. I watched some TV and strolled around the neighborhood. It's one of those part beach, part forest kind of places, like someone stapled Brighton Beach into the middle of Montana. Far Cry?
Yeah, exactly.
It was past dark when I got back, and I figured I might go to bed early and try to do some more exploring in the morning. I'm not usually a nature calls kind of guy, but when in Rome...
Kill the gods.
Yes. Kratos. After I locked up and turned out all the lights on the first floor, I went up the stairs to do the same for the second floor when I noticed something peculiar. My grandparents had left the light on in the guest room. Easy enough mistake to make, I figured. Who doesn't forget to turn the light out in a room every so often? I flicked it off and went to sleep in their bed across the hall. I was willing to push the idea of sleeping somewhere that had hosted grandparent sex out of my head in order to take advantage of the comfy queen-size bed.
Oh.
I'm actually ignoring that because it rhymed.
Let me see. Holy crap, it does! Grandmaster Flex.
Well, it only rhymed the way I read it because I added bed after queen size.
I'm checking the gain levels again. Oh, wow, we are all the way up. Alright. Well, we sound good.
Dem gains.
Them gains are good. Okay. A digression, but an important one. My mom and I never slept over at our grandparents' house when I was young. Well, that's not entirely true. There were nights when we would sleep over, we would sleep in their RV, me in the bed and her on the couch. I didn't think much of it at the time, since getting to sleep in a big car is something any little boy would find perfectly agreeable. The novelty wore off as I got older, though. And when I turned 13, I asked my mom if we could maybe just sleep in the guest room the next time we went to visit Grandma and Grandpa. Maybe, sure. I remember her muttering. I hadn't visited my grandparents since. Sometimes they would come to see us for important events like birthdays and graduation and stuff like that, but I hadn't slept over on their grounds for nearly a decade before I took this house-sitting job. So they've just been sleeping in the fuck RV and not on the fuck bed.
It's probably better. They probably keep the RV cleaner.
I
don't know. I think the stench would just, like,
are the
run through the whole
grandparents...
house.
Are they swingers? I bet you they're swingers, dude.
Everybody was a swinger when they got, hooked.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, they're swingers. I'm betting you this right
swingers.
now.
And that's going to be the horror of this story.
Oh yeah, there's going to be used condoms in the pillowcases.
Yep.
Yuck.
And they left the light on so that their swinger friends can come have sex in the guest
Oh
room.
yeah, if you don't flick the light 3 times, they'll just come swarming in. Be very careful. Alright.
Should I start reading now?
Yes, you got it. All the way up to that.
Now, as I said, right? And then I'm going to go to first week.
Where are we? A digression. Now, as I said, and you go all the way to then.
He's got it.
Then,
yeah.
Finish that sentence, dude?
Yes.
Alright.
Awesome.
Now, as I said, the first night was perfectly chill. You could even extend that statement to account for the first week. I took in the beauty of nature, vegged out watching YouTube clips on their mediocre DSL connection, even met a couple of girls down on the beach.
Ew.
Yeah.
Get some.
I didn't expect them to call me, but sometimes just the fun of flirting can make up for the lack of results, at least for me. The grandfolks had a big connection of old Flash comics from the 50s and 60s in their guest room, so sometimes I ended the night by reading a stack of them, shutting the light out, and going to bed. Again, a perfectly normal, unremarkable first week. Then I heard the whistling.
Okay, which flashes? Oh, okay, I was about to go on a rant. Alright, no, just...
Let's not get too off track.
Oh, I'm going to get so off track. Okay, then he heard the whistling. What kind of...
All right.
Oh, that's fucking creepy, right?
All right.
Yeah.
I was up in my grandparents' bedroom cruising the internet at around 2:30 in the morning. That's where their internet connection is based, because it's DSL. I don't know how many times they're going to comment on that, but it's DSL, guys.
Hey, guys. It's not optimal internet.
I think I was reading a Cracked article about funny video game glitches when I heard a very soft but very distinct high-pitched noise for about 3 seconds. I don't think I even turned my head when I heard it, thinking it must have been some goofy night bird.
Goofy night bird?
What the fuck?
My favorite member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
You can tell this person isn't a nature guy.
It's just the bird from Moana.
But then an hour later, it started again. It was too tuneful, too specifically melodic to have come from a bird. That's what birds do! Sorry, this is... And it must have lasted for at least a solid, uninterrupted minute. I thought maybe an ad was playing...
Your phone died?
Nope. I thought maybe an ad was playing on my laptop, but I checked the speakers and they were turned off. Right as I started to rise out of my chair, the whistling faded out. Almost like an inappropriate laugh does. I closed my computer, locked the door of the room, and went to bed, unnerved.
Huh.
Interesting.
Okay. The next couple of nights I had gone to sleep early, but 4 nights after I heard the whistling sound the first time, it happened again. I was lying in bed, awake at 2:45, trying to get sleep, when the same tune as before started looping, but it was a little louder than last time, and it didn't stop. I knew I wasn't imagining it. It was responding to the acoustics of the hallway the same way I heard any voice do the same when I was younger. The sound wasn't only real, it was in the house, right on the other side of the wall. I was rigid in bed, too freaked to even breathe, until the sun came up after a grueling like 5 hours. Oh boy.
Should I do the next 2 paragraphs, or?
Yeah, do the next 2, yeah. Huh. There's a dog.
Yeah.
Picked up the dog.
We're up to where, right?
Yeah, where have
I heard that song before was the only thing I had in my head when I woke up from the miserable sleep. I walked around the beach whistling to myself in frustration for a couple of hours before it finally hit me. The Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. Something in my grandparents' house had been repeating the whistle refrain from the Dock of the Bay all night long.
I think I've heard that song.
I've definitely heard that song.
I don't think I have.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah, I feel
Is
like
that from a movie or something?
No, it's just an Otis Redding
Yeah,
song.
it's just a song.
That's a real person.
Yeah, it's a real song, and yeah, the whistle from it. If I heard the whistle,
I can't whistle.
if I heard that in the middle of the night,
I'd be a little freaked out.
I would
I'm not
freak
gonna
out.
lie.
Just
Yeah,
imagine
that'd
it
be a
right
little-
now would be terrifying because it is kind of creepy. Yeah. Like that?
Okay.
Like in the middle of the night? No.
Yeah, no thank you. I went back immediately and checked all the windows on the second story. They were locked tight. My grandparents had a security system, so I couldn't imagine anyone getting in very easily. But even if someone had broke in, they didn't take anything. Who would go to the trouble of bypassing a security system just to walk up to the second floor, stand in one place, whistle the Dock of the Bay for hours, and then leave when the sun came up? Unless they didn't leave.
Dot, dot, dot. You can have the next chunk.
I ran down to the kitchen to grab a knife and then scrambled. Searched every room and every closet, looked under every bed, checked behind drawers and under the couch and behind the TV. Nothing to suggest anyone besides myself had been here over the last couple of weeks. Nothing except the whistling.
That night, I mustered my courage and decided to try something. An experiment. I stayed on the internet until about 3 a.m. Sure as shooting, yeah, well, he is in America. Sure as shooting, I started to hear the whistling again. And just like last night, it was the same song and louder than it was the previous night. Now almost to the volume of a full, normal voice. After the refrain was repeated a couple of times, I matched the whistle. As soon as the first half of the riff ended, the high part, I whistled as clearly as I could manage. The second half, the low part. I'm going to get this next chunk. Oh, Zach, you got to move a little closer. According to this thing, it's like you're like...
Don't tell me what to do.
Oh, I'm sorry, the laptop's telling me what to do.
Stupid laptop.
After I matched the whistle, there was silence for a moment. Then the whistling came back. But it was not the Dock of the Bay, and it was not quiet. It started out at an even pitch, very low, lower than I thought it was possible to whistle. Oh, that's kind of creepy, actually. Right? I can't even imagine what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Then slowly the pitch rose over the course of a couple of minutes, higher and higher and higher until it turned into a piercing shriek. It was not an even tone now. It was stop and start, almost like someone was belting it out between short, sharp breaths, and it was ear-splittingly high. Worse still, the noise got slightly louder and slightly quieter over the course of the night, in rapid intervals, which led me to believe that whatever was doing this was running up and down the hallway. What?
Oh, shit.
Passing in front of my room every few seconds. But I never heard footsteps, and I never saw a shadow under the door. Okay, that's really fucking creepy.
That escalated quickly.
That escalated really quickly. Alright, Chris, your turn. Oh, man.
This furious, isolating scream lasted for hours and hours. I sat in the far corner of the room, clutching my knife and covering my ears, keeping my eyes clamped shut. Right as I was considering killing myself, just so the noise would stop tormenting me, the sun began to ascend over the beach, and the siren noise fade away. I slept for three useless, nightmare-riddled hours.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. You know, Chris, you can get the next part,
You want me
too.
to get that next
yeah,
part,
get
too?
that
Alright.
next part,
Well,
homie.
that's a big chunk.
That's a
Yeah.
huge chunk. Young man takes over huge chunk tonight on Pornhub.
That'd be a nice little title, wouldn't it? I knew my mom had lived in the house until she was old enough to leave home. And as far as I knew, my grandparents had lived here most of their lives. They had to have known about this nightmare, this haunting, had they been able to tolerate it? And if they knew they had some horrible paranormal entity residing on their grounds, why had my grandparents kept asking us to come back over and over again throughout the years? These were the questions I asked myself all day. I tried to spend as much time on the beach as possible that day, even tolerating the overpriced burgers at the snack shack just so I wouldn't have to go back to the house to make something. In my mind, I reasoned that my mom and grandparents had to have done something to make that place livable. They had to have found a way to coexist with whatever it was that lived there too. Then I remembered the light in the guest room.
So I guess they drowned it out with the nonstop banging.
Probably, yeah.
Until you were just.
Or they pleased to go somehow.
Yeah, right. Flick it on and off. The swingers, let the swingers in.
Let the swingers in. They'll whistle in tune with it, and you'll be happy.
All right, Zach.
All right. Everything made sense all of a sudden. I went back and turned the guest room light on. Just for safety, I turned on every single light on the top and bottom floor. My understanding of whatever this thing's logic was led me to think that it couldn't come out if there were lights on. And since it lived in the guest room, it wouldn't be able to leave if the lights were on everywhere. Even though I'd have to adjust to sleeping with the lights on in my grandparents' room, I figured I'd found a way to make this thing's presence a non-issue. My grandparents could deduct the whomping electric bill out of my salary for all I give a damn.
You got that next chunk.
Oh yeah, I got this.
Oh my god.
It happened later than it had before, at 4 in the morning and at a boisterous volume. The next song it decided to whistle was the vocal melody to My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. That would be creepy.
That would be creepy.
That's another one I don't know.
My favorite things.
Oh, I think I know that.
That'd be fucking creepy.
Yeah.
That fucker. Not only did it change its tune, it lulled me into a false sense of security, thinking that I had beat it, after it failed to show up at the same time it had in the past. But it whistled, and the lights burned on, and the sun rose, and I gave serious thought to drowning myself in the ocean.
Oh, this guy's about to fist fight a ghost.
I'd do it.
Maybe it was a mistake to have engaged with it, and that was why it wouldn't leave now, even with the lights on. Maybe when I addressed it, I invited it into the house proper. I never figured it out for certain, because I was never able to make it stop. I didn't make the mistake of responding to it a second time, so it never changed songs again, and it always started around 4 in the morning. My favorite things, all morning, every morning, as performed by a murderous, wrathful spirit. For a while, I came up with a consistent way to bypass it. I would just go to sleep early and pray to God that I wouldn't wake up between 3 and 4, but that actually worked for a little while. But I went to bed around 10 and slept through the night. I didn't hear the whistling and no harm came to me. For the most part, this idea worked out for me for a couple of weeks. Ooh.
Then one morning around 9 a.m., in the middle of July, I woke up and my door was open just a crack.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
I had shut and locked my door every single night for a month. I remembered the sound of the door shutting and the lock clacking every night before I went to bed, including the night where the things had opened my door. Did it stare at me while I slept? Did it sing me a lullaby? This was the last straw. I sat up and broke down crying. I had run out of strategies, I had run out of battle plans, and I had run out of appeasements. Now the thing was just toying with me, mocking me, showing it could get to me whenever it wanted, asleep or awake, lights on or lights off. What do you want? I screamed in agonizing terror. What can I do?
Oh.
This is getting good.
He's getting
Get
desperate.
me some burgers from the snack shack.
Bring me some pussy.
I am the ghost of Tito from Rocket Power.
Nothing responded, of course. It was the morning, and the thing wasn't out and about yet, to my knowledge. Groggily, miserably, I dragged myself out of bed. When I got to the hall, I saw the door to the guest room was cracked open as well. I had kept it closed, locked from the outside for the last month, like I had done for every other room. Why did it open that door too? What could it... Oh, of course. I understood. I had a normal day. I ate my breakfast. I strolled through the woods. I took a great picture of the sunset over the ocean, and when I got back, I watched Adult Swim until 2 in the morning. Then I went up the stairs, and I got into my pajamas. I brushed my teeth and took a piss. I went into the guest room, got under the covers, and went to sleep.
That was very descriptive.
That was. I feel like I know him now. The whistling stopped completely. For the rest of the time, I was at my grandparents'. When my room came in, it's like Doctor Who. All right. When my mom came to pick me up at the end of August, I told her I had a great time. On the drive back home, she told me that Grandma and Grandpa had sent me the money for the house, sitting with a simple, handwritten note that simply said, "Thanks." She hadn't been able to get in contact with them over the phone for the last couple of weeks, but when she last called, they said they were in Colorado and having a great time. A month later, my grandparents still hadn't come back. A month later, the whistling started again. What?
Yeah. Grandparents have something to do with it.
That's right. What the fuck?
I was in my bed, trying to go to sleep when I heard it. Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra. Just outside my door. I think my mom heard it too. I heard her crying. Not this. I think I heard her sob. Not here. Not again, please. I saw my mom at the dining room table the next morning, pale and haggard. She had not slept, looking at me with a mix of panic, exhaustion, and fear. It was an expression I imagined she wore many times when she was young. "Kid," she whispered, "what did you do?"
Oh, man.
I looked at her, wanting to cry, heavy with guilt. Then I looked at the table. My money was on it, next to the envelope, and next to the envelope was my grandparents' note, "Thanks." "Oh no, kid."
Oh, God. All right, Zach.
Wow.
Bring us home, man.
Wow. I suddenly understood why they had invited us to sleep over so many times all those years ago. Thanks. Why they always tried to make the guest room look so clean and nice for us. Why they always assured us it was the most comfortable bed in the house. Thanks. And why I was so very sure that they would never come home from their RV trip for as long as they lived. What did you do? Wow! And my phone just died.
And your phone just died. You're going to hear whistling from your phone now.
I'm cool with it. I'll just play air drums to it.
Oh, crap. Yeah, you can.
Wow.
How are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, what did you guys think of that story?
That's creepy, but it's not like malevolent creepy.
Yeah,
it's just lack of
information.
That's wow.
He gives it a wow out of whistles.
Wow out of whistles.
Like, was it good? Did you
I
like
thought it was good. I thought it was I expected it to lead up to more.
Okay.
Like, I expected more to happen. There wasn't really a I mean, obviously the end was the only real noticeable, like, crescendo of sorts.
Yeah. It's a
I
real
really like the end.
Yeah, it's a really classical horror story. Because a lot of old school horror stories just kind of hit and it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like old school in that kind of way.
And I didn't mind that. I just expected the end to be a little more...
But
like, something more happened.
Somehow it's creepier, though.
Yeah, to an extent. Because you don't really know what it is. You don't really know what it's trying to do. Like, if it has any goals or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost just like a constant annoyance.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Yeah, what do you think? I'm gonna let Chris tell us what he thought of the story first.
I just didn't think it went far enough into it. With the monster or whatever was haunting them.
Yeah.
I wish I would have figured out more.
This is how I know you guys haven't read a lot of horror stories.
You're correct.
This is this is normal.
Really?
Because it's like, I've heard someone describe it as like when a bell rings and it doesn't ring anymore, and it's just that.
Okay.
It's like that, and it sticks with you.
Okay.
Like if something happened, if you ask me, it would have been ruined. This is why a lot of modern horror movies like don't do it for me, because it's like at the end there's a jump scare.
Okay.
In a lot of movies, if there wasn't like a jump scare at the end, it would stay with you long. Like everyone seen that movie Unfriended?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
At the end, like the girl, like all her friends are dead,
Mhm.
and this ghost is out there. And at the end, she puts her laptop down. There's a ghost there. Boo! What if it ended and that was it? Her friends are dead. That's it. And just cut the credits. That would have been much more terrifying.
I agree. And part of that is because one typical trope in horror writing is that there is no description that is going to be scarier than what your imagination
And what's
will
in
make.
your head? Yeah, and a lot of modern horror filmmakers kind of don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
So they
leave
want that
anything
jump
to the
scare.
imagination.
They always want they always want to get you with the gotcha.
Yeah.
But you should just be like, that's why Jaws is so scary. You don't see that shark for like the first 80% of that movie. You don't see that shark.
Yeah.
But even then, a lot of horror movies that even do a little bit better, they seem to put some kind of pride in revealing the monster.
Everyone wants a mascot.
Yeah, everyone wants the
Yeah, I feel
mascot.
like
If you've seen A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
Did
Yeah.
you see that?
I haven't seen it. No.
All right.
That's
Well,
new-
I
that's a
won't
new
spoil
one, right?
it, but
Do you see the monster?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. I feel like I just ruined it for you.
No, because there's a.
It was really good though.
I have a book I can lend
It
you
was
guys.
really good.
It's called Bird Box, and it's about a world where you can't look at the monsters, or else they'll drive you
Oh,
insane.
yeah, you were talking to me about that.
So the whole book is about people like with blindfolds on and they're just feeling around, because the monsters don't care or anything as long as you don't look at them.
Right.
So you can't look at anything. You don't want to chance it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So everyone's walking around blind, pretty much. And Netflix is turning it into a movie. I have no idea how you're going to make that into a movie.
Yeah, that sort of
Unless it was
defeats the premise.
Imagine if it was a podcast.
A podcast
That
would
would
be
have worked much
perfect.
better, right? It
That'd
was like
be
an
perfect.
audio drama.
Hmm.
But yeah, all right. So we do this weird thing where we give it a rating, like a weird rating that doesn't make sense. Oh, just like he gives it like
I already gave mine.
it's a wow out
It's a
of whistle.
wow out of whistles.
What do you give it?
I wouldn't even. I'm just confused on what do you mean.
Yeah, right. Like you'll get.
So what are you like? Are you like Spinal Tapping it? Are you gonna dial it up to 11? Is that where?
Nah.
No.
I think it was mediocre, so.
Okay. No,
So
yeah.
I wouldn't know.
So it was
5 out of 7.
5 out of 7. What would be 5 out of 7?
5 out of 7 is
It
a pretty
was-
good percentage.
It was Wade Wilson out of Slade Wilson
With rice.
With
with
rice.
Hold the chimichangas.
Yeah, no, this is it's. You couldn't make a movie out of this.
No.
No.
You could make a short film out of this and be really creepy.
Oh yeah, like this would be perfect for like a Twilight Zone skit.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't need a budget because there's nothing
No.
to show.
Yeah.
No, you just need a house
You need a
just
good
need
whistler.
and somebody who can whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even really need anybody that can whistle. You just use the computer. At
Yeah,
this
you use a
point.
computer. That'd be
Yeah.
creepier, actually. Like a weird, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you could mess with the tones, man.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
No, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. No, what got me was the part that it was like someone was running up and down the hallway going.
That was
Yeah.
creepy. That was creepy.
That's creepy.
And the part where it said like it got lower in tone, it was lower
like-
in tone than he thought a whistle was possible.
That's
like,
some Lovecraft shit. Like
That
Lovecraft
is.
would pull that shit. I was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, it was shaped like this, but I know that's impossible, and your head makes it up. Right? Like, what's an impossible shape? I don't get it. Like a tetrahedron or something? What? You know? Like that's why I love reading like horror fiction because it's like my head will scare.
I
the
do need
shit
to
out
start
of me.
reading more of this.
the
more I keep reading, the more I'm like,
The more you
I'm,
get.
I'm into
Okay.
it. I'm into it.
Yeah, the more you get
I'll
it.
have to read some more.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me.
We
it was
got
a good time.
yeah. No, we do this every Tuesday usually.
Alright.
My usual co-host is sick,
Alright.
so but you guys live closer. So
Yeah, Rob.
we have a Facebook page. This will be up on YouTube. I'm working on the Twitter. We're working on getting on iTunes. Why do you have to do that? We apparently need like approval and shit.
Really?
We're super unprofessional. I mean, I listen to a bunch of like unprofessional podcasts. Like
a lot of people, most of them aren't professional.
Isn't that how they're supposed to be?
Yeah,
I think that's what makes it that much better.
That's what's fun about it.
It's just people talking about stuff. And I got a few ideas. I got an idea for a podcast, like a side thing where we you bring in a conspiracy theory, you bring in a ghost story, or someone else brings like a true crime thing, and we just talk about like, hey, reptilians. Let's talk an hour and a half about how like reptilians run the government. And
Mark Zuckerberg is definitely a reptile.
He's definitely
a lizard man.
He's definitely a lizard man. There's a guy named David Icke. Look him up. Yo, that guy. Woo, that guy.
Total lizard man?
Total
conspiracy theories.
He believes that the lizards are everywhere.
Really? They are.
I never heard of these theories.
Because his
Illuminati, bro.
He's one of these people who like can't like admit that humanity is evil and like is capable of evil. So he's like, no, humanity's good. It's the lizard men that are doing all the evil shit. Like,
since the dawn
of time, right? So yeah, we can get into that, but that's gonna be a whole. I'm thinking about calling it like the Fear Files is taken.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to call it, or just the lizard man profile. I don't know. But hey guys, thanks for listening. We love you. Hey, what's up?
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
There may or may not be a new YouTube series coming up, produced by Zach. And/or Zach and Julian. We still got to figure it out. But yeah, look forward to that. Maybe, probably not, but maybe.
It's gonna be masked.
No, don't spoil it.
No,
don't spoil it.
No, it's gonna be on Pornhub.
Definitely.
But yeah, thanks guys. We love you. Send love towards Chris, you know, because he's here.
He's the new guy.
He was the new guy. He's the new guy.
I feel very grand.
Every 5 episodes we do something weird.
Okay, that's fine.
Really?
The next episode is the 5th. It's episode 10.
Yeah.
Fuck my not saying the episode thing, but next episode is gonna be the Ink Blots, which is we take 2 or 3 shorter stories, like 5-minute stories, and we just run through them. And we just go through like a gauntlet of like
no comments on them or anything.
Yeah.
Like you just bolt right
through it.
Well,
no, we do the thing, but it's a roller coaster because we just pick random ones. And last episode was 2 stories, and one was and the other one was great.
Okay.
So we're gonna try and do 3 where we don't know. It might all be great, or it might be bad. They
might all suck.
Yeah. Or it might be suck, or it might be like a roller coaster. So that's always cool. But hey guys, we love you. Subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. We're going to say goodbye. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I stop the recording?
I don't know.
God. Stop the recording, boy.